This program is brought to you by Bible Way Media, overseen by the elders of the Chipman Road Church of Christ in Lee Summit, Missouri.
In Proverbs 25:11 we read, "A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver." I have always thought of that scripture as such a beautiful painting in my mind's eye. This large silver bowl with golden apples sitting in it. The inspired writer using words that paint a picture for us. One of a valuable silver container holding within it a most precious treasure of golden nourishment, that which is filled with sweet, desirable fruit. It almost makes your mouth water, doesn't it? I'm sure that many of you have seen this very picture hanging on walls in several different places. That only goes to prove that people often try to paint what they have read or heard. The interpretation of the words we hear often varies, though it really doesn't that much. If we were asked to paint a picture of apples of gold and pictures of silver, every single one of us would paint, but we would still paint something a little bit different, wouldn't we? The same is often true with the words we speak and how we hear them. They often interpret that which we have seen or heard. I believe it was Rembrandt who actually painted a scene of Christ on the cross, and in the bottom right corner it was said that he painted a picture of himself hovering just above a deep pit with demons beneath him. There are many interpretations of how people perceived this, but we won't go into that. It's just to show you that everyone gets a different picture in their mind when they hear and see things. In Matthew 13:13, we read the words of Jesus. "Therefore speak I unto them in parables, because they, seeing, see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand." Jesus fully understood well the connection between the words that we use to communicate with others and how they're received and perceived in our minds. Every painting, drawing, or visual that we look at has been based upon words that were spoken, images that we've created within our minds, or glimpses of that which we saw or imagined. Needless to say, our words we hear and speak need to be clear, respectful, and easily understood. Decisions we make regarding the choice of words that we use are important, and the results of our dialogues are as varied as the words we choose. Just a click of our computer mouse or a word from our mouth can affect people today and even far into the future. A picture on social media, an electronic message, a fax, many other forms of communication can circulate in a nanosecond. We need to think about how we communicate, when we should do so, and consider how it might be received or transferred to others, perhaps even perceived. And let's not forget that if we're speaking face to face, that our facial expressions and body language come into perspective as well. Scowling, fists that are doubled up, sneering. Well, you get it. Smiling, happy, jovial people. You get that too, don't you? But those words as well as the actions and expressions, may replay in people's minds over and over. And I'm sure that each and every one of you have probably experienced this with someone. But just remember, a word fitly spoken will too. So may we all learn to speak kindly and lovely words to all with whom we come into contact with and communicate with. I'm going to leave you ladies with a beautiful poem written by a man named James Foley, who makes some wonderful observations of the importance of our words. He titled his poem, "A Pebble in the Water." Drop a pebble in the water, just a splash and it is gone, but there's 100 ripples circling on and on and on, spreading from the center, flowing on out to the sea, and there's no way of telling where the end is going to be. Drop a pebble in the water, in a minute you forget, but there's little waves a flowing, and there's ripples circling yet. and those little waves of flowing to a great big wave have grown. You've disturbed a mighty river just by dropping in a stone. Drop an unkind word, or careless, in a minute it is gone. But there's 100 ripples circling on and on and on. They keep spreading, spreading, spreading from the center as they go, and there is no way to stop them once you've started them to flow. Drop an unkind word, or careless, in a minute you forget. But there's little waves a flowing, and there's ripples circling yet. And perhaps in some sad heart, a mighty wave of tears you've stirred, and disturbed a life was happy ere you dropped that unkind word. Drop a word of cheer and kindness, just a flash and it's gone. But there's 100 ripples circling on and on and on, bearing hope and joy, comfort on each splashing, dashing wave, till you wouldn't believe the volume of the one kind word you gave. Drop a word of cheer and kindness, in a minute you forget. But there's gladness still a-swelling, and there's joy circling yet. And you've rolled a wave of comfort, whose sweet music can be heard over miles and miles of water, just by dropping one kind word. As we look forward to our holiday coming up of Thanksgiving that we celebrate, may we continue to remember all these things and the kindness and love that we should be sharing with others. And I hope you all have a blessed holiday and that you remember to be thankful to God for all the wonderful things that He has bestowed upon us, because we are a very fortunate people and He deserves that praise. And I thank you for listening.
We thank you for joining us today. We hope you have enjoyed this program. You can find out more about Bible Way Media by visiting us at BibleWayMedia.org. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find all of our podcasts on all major podcast platforms. As always, we thank you for listening.